Okay, hello and welcome to an episode of The Grafter Show. Today I'm joined by Joe Winters Jr. I understand he's an inspirational and motivational speaker. He's the owner and CEO of No Grind, No Glory, and he really helps youth and other athletes, training, nutritional help, but really tries to give a lot back to his community, and we're going to touch on a bit of his childhood experiences as well in this episode. But Joe, would you like to give an introduction? And obviously, thank you for being on the episode.
Thank you for having me on the episode. It's always a blast whenever I'm asked to come on, and I really do appreciate that. You pretty much hit everything on the head. My name is Joe Winters Jr. I'm the owner and CEO of No Grind, No Glory, like you said. I'm also the founder and CEO of Pave, which is another organization. It's a nonprofit organization for youth, and I just have a huge heart for giving back, and that's what it inspired me and empowered me to start my own businesses so I can manage my time and give back at the capacity I would like to.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. What would you say is your overall goal then that you're trying to achieve at the moment?
My overall goal at the very moment. My overall goal, I have a program within my company, No Grind, No Glory, and it's a program for underprivileged athletes. And so what I do is I train underprivileged athletes every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Complete free. Like I don't charge them. And I am accepting sponsorships for the athletes so that way I can get them added benefits as the program grows and things like that of that nature. But I would have to say that's my my biggest goal right now, solely because I'm huge on giving back. And there's a lot of underprivileged athletes as well as underprivileged students that just need that empowering and someone to really have faith in them and build them,
Let's just go right back to the beginning and probably how you decided that this is something that you want to do. Do you want to tell us a little bit about, probably starting from your childhood, because I suspect that's probably where a lot of the motivational factors came in from and why you're doing a lot of the stuff that you're doing today?
Yeah, most definitely. I'll try to keep it short, but, before I was, before 8 years old, actually, my mother took care of me and my two little brothers as a single mother. My father was in prison, and my mother really poured into us and empowered us, especially me. And one of the biggest things she would always tell me is that I can do anything I put my mind to. So at a very young age, I was empowered to do whatever I want to do in this life. And then when I turned 8 years old, my mother was killed. So the biggest and really only support system I had was taken away. And I'm not saying that I don't have, aunts and uncles and cousins that, don't love me or love me, because I do have aunts and uncles, cousins that love me, but none of them were in the position to take care and empower me and my little brothers like my mother could. And when my father got out of prison, he was very abusive mentally, physically, and emotionally. And that pretty much left me or pushed me to run away from his house in the 7th grade. That's when I started running away. And I was pretty much on the road since, just back and forth between friends' homes, and a lot of their parents would take me in and, give me their little 2 cents on life and help me where they can. And then, junior year of high school, I met my young life leader, Brian Leveretts. He was the model for me. Like when he came into my life, he just helped me with a lot of things with how to become a man that I wouldn't have had help with because my father wasn't doing that. And so, just him giving back to me at the capacity he did really, really inspired me to give back. Cause I'm going to be honest, like before him, like I tell people all the time, I believe that I was going to be as successful as I am because my mom had always instilled in me that I can do anything I wanted to. But it was him that really inspired me to give back because of how he gave to me. And so, that's what got me here today.
Wow, that's a really, really unbelievable story, and I think a lot of people can probably take so much away just from your experiences alone. One thing I definitely want to touch on is, how did you overcome some of those, what I would probably imagine as being traumatic experiences in a way? How did you actually overcome yourself to get to a place where you can, really motivate yourself to do the things you're doing on a daily basis without those memories and maybe some of those factors pulling you down, I guess?
Just a lot of failure. I made a lot of mistakes early on, and I continue to make mistakes to this day, but I'm more strategic. And so the mistakes are limited. Just like I said, failure. Because of the life that I had, I was put in a position to fail early. I was failing at a rate that classmates of mine didn't have to fail at. But, in entrepreneurship and in anything in life, wisdom can only be obtained through experience. And so I had to get to a point where I asked myself, do I want the rest of my life to look like the beginning of my life, where I'm moping around and I'm crying, and because I did do a lot of crying. I did a lot of self-reflecting, which is great. I did a lot of, crying to myself, looking up at the sky, and if anybody that's listening to this right now, like, I want to tell you, don't be afraid to cry. Don't be afraid to release those emotions. Like, actually embrace who you are as a person. Because I would have to say, as a whole, me just embracing myself, like the emotions, the thoughts, good all the way to like real bad, like hell bad, just embracing it and letting those emotions out, I believe really got me to where I am as far as doing these things.
Mm-hmm. And then you mentioned your current goal at the moment is specifically you have that program that you want to obviously grow and you want to really give back to the community. But then you also mentioned you've got the NPO, you've got Pave, and you've also got No Grind, No Glory. Do you want to just quickly brief us in on those two companies that you have running, and just so our audience know exactly what they are and what you're doing with both of them?
Most definitely. No Grind, No Glory is a sports performance and fitness company based out of Fort Worth, Texas. We offer sports performance training. We offer online training as well as online programs to help people reach fitness goals. The legacy program is actually a program within that company, No Grind, No Glory, because it's obviously for athletes. And then Pave the Path is an empowering nonprofit organization for youth, which we go to high schools and middle schools and educate kids through our workshops, financial aid application workshop, college application workshop, admission awareness workshop, effective interviewing skills workshops, how to make a resume, stuff like that. I mean, just that's pretty much the two companies in itself. It's both for youth, but Pave the Path is more so towards the academic aspect and also workforce, obviously. And then No Grind, No Glory is more so towards the athletic aspect, while also sharing the common goal of just empowering anybody we come across.
I'm guessing these two companies take up your full time, so these are your two focuses, I guess.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
So yeah, I just wanted to set the scene in terms of you're not doing any other like studying or anything like that, but these two companies are your prime goals, your prime focuses in your day job, essentially.
These two are my prime goals. I will have to say that I'm a graduate student at University of North Texas, where I'm going after my Master's of Education and Educational Leadership. I am a full-time entrepreneur that works for myself. So yes, I take care of myself with my two companies. But that's pretty much, I guess, the three goals, because it's the two companies and my schooling. I would like to go and get my PhD after I get my master's, and it's not to work for anybody else or anything like that. It's just one of my pillars is education. It's my fourth pillar. It's really got me to where I am today. Like, I'm more excited about education than I've ever been. It's helped me grow. I mean, it's helped me with so much, the resources. I mean, college just provides a lot of things. And I know you don't have to go to college to be successful, but it provides a lot of resources and growth for an individual.
So this has set the scene perfectly for some of the topics that I'd like to touch on now. And one of the first things I really want to get into is how do you actually structure your typical day, given that you're running two companies, you're doing a bit of studying as well to try and get your master's. So your day must be insanely busy every day. So how do you structure your day, and is it a Monday to Friday or is it Monday to Sunday?
It's pretty much Monday to Sunday, but Saturday and Sunday are more lenient days where I'm not as crucial on myself. My days typically start off with a workout at midnight. So I go and I get my own workout ranging from an hour and a half to 3 hours. After that, I'll come home, rest my body for maybe 30 minutes or so, and then I'll do my reading for my personal development. After I do that, I'm eating breakfast, usually around 7 o'clock. I do this thing called reality mentality, where I'm pouring time into things that I want to make a reality. So, that's writing my book in that time, producing, because there's actually a third company that I'm working on right now. I don't really want to disclose that, but
Sure.
putting together stuff for that, and just other stuff that I want to turn into a reality. I do that from 7:30 to 9. When 9 o'clock hits, I'm pretty much calling schools and calling places that I can speak at. My first snack is around 10 o'clock. I do my studies and meetings anywhere from 11 to 1, take lunch at 1. I do outreach at 2, and pretty much have family time at 4. My sleep typically comes between 7 and 11, 7 and 11:30 or so. And then I'm back up at the gym doing the same thing.
Oh wow, that's quite a different day than a lot of other people. And most entrepreneurs may work late in the night, but it sounds like you're actually probably the most productive in the early hours of the day.
Most definitely, I am.
So then, what actually motivates you on a daily basis to keep going? And obviously, you've got all of this stuff that you're doing, so you're always busy. But I'm sure you get those moments in time where you're thinking, "Oh gosh, this is too much, or there's too much stuff to do." You're not sure if you're going to achieve everything that you want to achieve. So, what motivates you to keep going on a daily basis?
I would have to say there's five things. One, and the most, my foundation one is learning from my mother that life is very short, because she was killed when I was 8 years old. And so each and every day I'm very aware that when I die, I want a legacy left on this earth that speaks volumes about work ethic. Number 2 is my daughter. That how can I tell my daughter you can do anything in the world you want and you can be whoever you want, and I didn't go after those things myself. So I believe in modeling advice, not telling it, and that's what I'm doing for my daughter. 3, I want to be just like when I get married. When my wife says I'm the best husband in the world, I want that to actually stand true, and so I just strive to be as phenomenal as I can be. And then lastly, I would have to say, I know that I'm an advocate for kids that are facing a lot of the things that I'm facing. And I know that with me being as successful as I am, I'm in the small percentage of those kids that actually make it to the other side, where I can see that I should be grateful for life and stuff like that because of the results that I've gotten from the work ethic that I've put in. And so constantly, the PhD, for example, that's one of the reasons why, most people go get their PhD to work for somebody else. I'm going to go get my PhD to show kids, look, you can go get your PhD. I'm just going to crush life. That's how you see. So that's how I see it. It's almost and I would probably have to say that's my burning one. When I'm thinking, man, that's a goal. Oh, that's massive. And somebody's like, oh, you can't do it. I'm like, watch me and watch how I do it. Watch how I walk you down coming from what I came from. And so, those are really my motivations, to be honest.
That's fantastic. I think, a lot of kids, and I think it's probably kids from all backgrounds and all scenarios that they're in, can probably take something away from that, and just having a role model to look up to and see that role model absolutely crush it and smash all of their own targets, and know that whatever they want to do is definitely possible, is something that all kids should be able to look up to. So really appreciate, and I fully see the value in what you're doing, and hopefully a lot of kids can get inspired by what you're doing as well, and obviously make positive steps in their life. So I really wish you the best of luck on all of that. I'm definitely going to stay tuned to all of the stuff that you're doing, because these are values that really resonate with me as well.
Thank you.
I just want to go on to some mindset type of stuff here as well then. So it sounds like you have a really determined mindset, but do you actually do anything? And you did mention earlier you do a bit of reading and for your own personal development, but do you do anything in particular to maintain that positivity and maintain that energy that you have?
Working out is one of them. I've been an athlete my entire life, and then I'm a part of Dr. Eric Thomas's online campus, which is Breathe University. And so just getting on there and getting some of that footage that it's not for everybody in the world to see unless you join the university is so powerful, because, granted, he has a lot of great content on YouTube and you can see him speak live and all that type of stuff. He has a lot of great practical steps. That's one of the biggest things that really helped me. If I had to speak on who's my favorite motivational speaker, it would be Dr. Eric Thomas. and just seeing his story and how he's crushing life as well. Like, I mean, it's pretty dominant and inspiring.
And then do you do anything else to specifically deal with negativity? And I know you touched on a couple of things earlier, but I was just wondering if you do anything such as meditation or anything like that.
Yes, I do yoga actually.
Okay.
I do. Yes, I do yoga and I box. So, if it's something where it's like it is like a lot of anger, then I'll go and I hit the bag a few times, and then I mean there's often times too where I go for a drive, let my windows down in my truck and turn on some music that can, if I feel like crying, turn on some music that'll probably pull the tears out of me. Because now, earlier I told you, like, I cried a lot, and now it's hard for me to cry. However, I feel like every emotion is important. So whenever you're at that point where you should be releasing tears, even if you've developed a very, very strong presence to where the tears just naturally like don't come out no more. Sometimes you just have to use that enhancement, I guess, to kind of get those tears to come out. And so, I just kind of associate that with negativity solely because it's very hard for me to be negative now in life. Like every day that I wake up, like every day's a holiday to me. Every day's a celebration, So like it is rare where I'm facing negativity, but when I am, I would have to say boxing or yoga.
And how often do you do those things? Is it like a once in a month sort of thing, or is it actually something a bit more regular than that?
Well, I do yoga more regular, so that way I can actually, just maintain, I guess, the good energy. Boxing, I do boxing often, but whenever I get to that point where it's like I'm pretty pissed, that's when I'll probably go hit the bag, which is probably once a month or every other month or so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you generally find yourself getting quite stressed out generally from running two companies, doing all of the studying, and then also the fourth project that you're working on as well? Do you find that is quite stressful for you to balance all of that, or do you find it's just ad hoc scenarios that pop up now and then that may get you in a bad mood, so to speak, and that's when you're feeling that you need to let out some of that stress?
It's the things that pop up, like when I first started my first company. Dealing with some of the people that came on, like, yeah, that was stressing me out. But the first company, we've arrived at our actual identity where we know who we are, we know what we do. My second company, I learned from the first one, so obviously a lot of the same problems didn't take place. And so now it's like, I'm doing everything right, I'm crushing it right, and then like, I don't know, like internet goes down or something, like in the middle of an important meeting or something, like and so it's like, man, like, are you kidding me? Like, how it's always, when you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, then it's things that are out of your control that just jumps in,
Yeah, it happens to the best of us. I actually have a little story to share on that, and luckily it didn't happen to me, but I was at a conference, and I think I was actually speaking at that conference as well. And another speaker actually had his slides, and he had some demo stuff all prepared on Google Docs. And I think that was one of the days where Amazon Web Services went down completely for an entire region or something like that, and they basically took down like half the internet pretty much. And it was just really unfortunate for him because he had his whole slide deck prepared, he had some demos that he wanted to show off, but they were all hosted online, and he couldn't get to them because it was just the worst timing possible that, Amazon, even despite their huge infrastructure, all of their stuff went down at that time, at that precise time when he was supposed to speak for his 1 hour slot. So the poor guy just had to wing it and just basically freestyle his talk from the top of his head without any demo or any slides or anything like that. So, he did the best he could, but, like you said, sometimes you can prepare everything you want, and maybe in this case he should have had an offline version, but sometimes, you don't have some of those luxuries, and maybe, his thing maybe was a fully online demo, for example, and without the internet you couldn't do anything. So, yeah, these things happen, so I can completely relate to you.
Most definitely, man. I feel bad for him. Yeah, that would have been something that would have made me pissed when I left.
Yeah, I mean, credit to that guy. I can't remember his name, but credit to him because he was still upbeat and positive about it, and he still, he got through it, and I think he got through it with a few laughs and everything. But I just feel really, really sorry for him to be in that situation where, you're speaking in front of a full house and a full audience, and unfortunately, the half the internet is down. You can't do anything. So, yeah, I can completely understand, maybe someone else, in that situation would have been completely stressed out. But these things happen, and that's life, and you have to crack on with it. So, just, on life and everything that you've been through so far, do you have any advice that you would want to give to people, especially, I think, in terms of, you've now started 2 companies, you're maybe thinking about what your next company may be. Do you have any learnings or advice that you would give to people who are specifically looking to start companies?
Yes. First and foremost, know your worth. Like, know your worth. That's the biggest one. So we live in a society where people are just naturally going to act like you're not worth what you're worth. Everybody in the world is worth so much, but our society is kind of corrupted in that way. So first and foremost, know your worth. Next, absolutely be yourself. Do not be afraid of being who you are. And I truly believe when you know your worth, it's very easy to be who you are. And then last but not least, whatever it is you want to do, get educated on it. So if you want to start, a sports performance company, look up other people that started a sports performance company, or look up other trainers, and you do that so that way you can do the things that you like, and then exclude the things you don't like. There's a great quote by Bruce Lee that says, "Take what's necessary, disregard what's not, and essentially add your own." And so every person could really apply that in life. Like you will never find someone where you're going to completely agree with 100% of everything they say and believe. And that is very much okay. So just, know your worth, be yourself, and get educated on whatever it is you want to do.
Mm-hmm. And then with the companies, have you actually hired people in that are working full time for you as well?
Yes, I do. It's more on a contracting basis. I have some brand ambassadors for No Grind, No Glory. And then I also have a few positions within Pave the Path right now. But Pave the Path is kept relatively small for a reason with our mission. The way that we're set up, we go to colleges and implement the organization on the college campus so they can go to their local high schools and middle schools and deliver the workshops that we have to deliver.
So I really wanted to ask, what challenges have you actually faced even bringing on some of the contractors? And I'm mainly thinking about, have you had times where maybe there's fundamental disagreements between maybe the way they work or some of their principles or their vision with the work? Have you had any of those types of challenges or problems?
Yes, I have. The biggest one is most people growing up, and I was one of these people too. Growing up, only know one form of way of getting paid, which is hourly. And then at some point we learn about salary, but nobody's truly taught the payment method of a business owner, which is commission. And so when I hire on contractors, I mean, they're on commission, it's based on performance. And so for me, it's very discouraging when so many people belittle their performance and who they are because they rather be paid hourly. And so there's this huge, people just automatically refer to things as pyramid schemes and scams and stuff like that. And they automatically try to make sense of commission and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I mean, it's very discouraging. Like, I've never been in a heated argument with anyone regarding it because I'm always transparent about it. But it's discouraging on my end, and on their end, for them, it's like, well, gosh, like this isn't normal, and then they leave and probably go and get, some job where they are getting paid hourly. Like I would have to say that's the biggest one. Like recently I've been telling people around me that I think I want to educate kids at a very young age, through like a class I'm gonna start hosting here in my city, the different type of payments that they are, because Granted, even though I'm bringing someone in as a contractor and you're not a business owner, being on commission is the exact same thing as a business owner. Business owners aren't punching anybody's clock. Business owners aren't getting paid hourly from anyone. Business owners have to go out there and eat what they kill. And so I really want to instill that in people, because I do think that it's sad that people automatically refer to things not being right because it's not the norm.
Just a similar type of question here. How have you found has been the best way for you to have an open discussion with someone who maybe disagrees? And it could have been on this same topic of how to get paid, but it could be on another topic. But what do you find is the best way of dealing with those conversations? And the reason I ask is I can imagine a lot of people looking to start a business or who already have, they probably will get into a situation, if they haven't already, around having a very difficult conversation with, a friend, an employee, a family member, an investor, and maybe they don't know how to deal with it. So have you any tips or advice or any experiences that you could share?
Yes, I do. The very first thing that any individual can do is remove their emotions. If you're very emotional about what's about to come out of your mouth, 9 times out of 10, you're about to say something you don't mean to say. Or at least you might mean to say it, but you don't mean to say it in the way that you say it. And so, remove your emotions first. Then next, always point out the good first. Like, let the person know, like, I'm not attacking you. Like, just because I don't agree with 100% of what you say means I don't agree with 20% of it. It's okay that I don't believe with the whole 100%. So coming from that perspective, just letting them know, like, yeah, like I agree with that. This is what I agree with. Like I wholeheartedly, believe this or believe that or agree with that, and then get into the things that you would like to get into. Now, one thing that I would say that could be tricky about that, at least what I've been saying, is whenever you are agreeing with what you're agreeing with them on, don't take too much time agreeing with them, because eventually they're just going to hear that you're agreeing and they're not going to hear what you actually disagree with. So I try to be very brief with what I agree with so I can go ahead and let them know, like, look, this is what I don't agree with, though.
If you were to go back when you were starting a business and with all of the knowledge and experience that you have now, is there anything that you would do differently?
Absolutely. I wouldn't hire friends and family. Like, I mean, I wouldn't. Too many friends and family. Like, one, they know you in a personal standpoint. So that personal standpoint, like, a lot of people that know me, like, yeah, they know that I'm a hard worker because they've seen what I've come from and what I've gotten to, but they're never actually with me in my domain when I'm applying the type of pressure I'm applying. And so because of that, that could in a lot of ways mess up the relationship, because they're looking at me like, man, like, you're super intense with it. And I'm looking at them like, man, you're incredibly lazy, so that's probably the biggest one.
Oh man, I can actually relate to you on that as well. There have been times where I've been working on some side projects in the past, and I've worked with a couple of people, and I've literally had the same thing where I've worked with a few friends, and I just feel that sometimes I'm going at 100 miles per hour and they're lagging very, very far behind, going on a very slower pace than I am.
They're in the school zone.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes these things that you're working on are time sensitive as well, and you kind of need everyone to be on the same page, working on that same speed, because otherwise you're just going to get derailed. So I've definitely experienced what you're talking about. So I guess identifying the right people that you can work with and have that correct understanding is a real key, especially when you're starting a business. And I think that's probably one of the areas that a lot of people trip up on, where they end up hiring, like you said, friends, family, people that have just maybe been recommended to them through friends and family, but they haven't really maybe interviewed them thoroughly enough or done their research on that person or really understood whether they're a good, culture fit for the company and the way that they work. And this is an area where I've spent a lot of my professional career. Actually, I've done a lot of recruitment over the last close to 10 years now. And it's an area which always fascinates me because I like building great teams. But it's still an area which I find unbelievably misunderstood by so many people. It's crazy how a lot of people think you can just stick 10 people together and they'll do wonders when, you need to get them on the same page. You need to find a complementary skill set. A lot of people don't understand that, unfortunately.
I completely agree.
Have you actually faced something that you've been doing along the way in your businesses which has really questioned what you're doing? So maybe it's actually put some doubt in your mind. And if so, how did you overcome it?
Honestly, no, not really, because like I said at first, I know my worth, and I also know who I am, and so if everything that I'm doing, so like I was training for free before I ever started a sports performance company. I was mentoring kids for free on how to get to college before I ever started the nonprofit. So if I can do it for free and it can be good enough, now that I'm a professional with it, it's like don't try to play my worth because I charge now and I'm a professional and now all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? So like it just made it very easy for me to understand like what I'm doing is going to work. I truly do believe I'm one of those type of people that believe that there's not really a such thing as a bad invention. I think it's a such thing as a lack of work ethic. Anything that an individual want to do, they can do. They just have to work hard enough for it.
Given where you are, what do you think is immediately next for you now?
Immediately next, getting my college degree. I start August 27th, and that's the next immediate thing on the radar. Is crushing it and having my master's within a year, and by December of next year being enrolled in a PhD program.
Fantastic. And then what do you think you want to do, maybe in the next 5 years? What do you hope to achieve in that time?
Within the next 5 years, I want to, one, be able to have any student loan debt paid off, as well as having college tuition saved up for my daughter. And I don't say that because it's about money. I just say that because there are some things that money clearly takes care of, and those are two of the biggest ones.
Yeah, fair enough. I can completely understand. I mean, over here in the UK, actually, university fees have been going up every few years. Student loans becoming more and more of a problem. I don't think it's as bad as it is over there in the USA, but it's an increasing problem, I think. And a lot of people, especially if you live in London, which is where I live, have a problem of debt. Properties over here are, as I'm sure you might be aware, they're not cheap. And I think, especially the next generation, I don't think that they're going to be in a situation unless they've got inheritance. I don't think they're going to be in a situation that they could ever afford a property in their life unless, they really manage to somehow make it big, which is getting more and more difficult in such a competitive market. So I can completely understand your goals over there, and I think a lot of people can probably relate to those goals over here as well.
For sure.
So we're coming to the end of the episode now. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience, the listeners? Maybe any passing comments, final tips or advices?
Yes, I do. Whatever it is in life that you want to do, make sure you do it. You only get one life to live. There will come a day where the people that love you the most can't hug you, can't talk to you, can't call you. I mean, the only thing they will be able to do is look at pictures of you and think about who you were and the things you did. So whatever it is in life that you want to do, make sure you go after it full tilt, full time. Also, I would like to say, visit my website at nogrindnoglorytx.com. And the other website is Pave, thepathforyouth.org. I also have a podcast I do, which is the Daily Path Podcast, and my name is Joe Winters Jr.
And do you have any social media accounts that you'd like to share as well?
Yes, I do. My Instagram, Twitter, Facebook account, you can find me at JL Winters with 2 S's. So that's J as in my first name, L as in lion, and then Winters like the season with 2 S's. No Grind, No Glory accounts is the number 1. No Grind, No Glory. And Pave the Path is the number 1. Pave the Path.
Great. So I'll be sure to have all of those links in the show notes of this episode. Joe, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing all of your experiences and giving us so much insight into what you do, and sharing obviously your experiences and giving us so much advice as well based on that. So thank you so much for being on the episode.
Thank you for having me on. Make a great day.